It's time for Real Estate 101 with the Carey Brown team from Realty Executives Preferred Advisors.
Good Sunday morning to you. This is Carey Brown, broker owner of Realty Executives Preferred Advisors, and you're listening to Real Estate 101. Today I am here with two of my teammates. I've got Quillan and Collyn Hoffman. Collyn's up first, but we are going to be talking about a really cool program that we've started. It's a Preferred Advisors team, Home for Heroes. And where it came from is these guys. Collyn, say hi, Collyn.
Hello.
Collyn is a fireman, and Quillan is a police officer. And I got to thinking, we do all these different programs for different, age demographics and just a bunch of, giving back to the school district and all these different things to try and help different people. But what we hadn't started was a Homes for Heroes. So we put together, the three of us, a program that has some really good incentives for people that are in the military, fire department, and police department. Obviously, there are a lot of heroes in our world, but those are the three that we're doing it for. And so I thought it'd be really great for you guys to hear about these guys, since they'll be the ones helping you. So, Collyn, how long have you been a fireman?
I've been in the fire service for a little over 10 years. I've been with the Topeka Fire Department for the last basically 3.5 years. First 7 years of my career was spent in Wichita. My wife's from the area, so we decided once we started building our family, it was a good idea to move closer to the area.
And you have a bunch of little girls.
I have 3 little girls. They keep me on my toes.
They're absolutely adorable. Okay, so when you're on call, let's talk about what it's like to be a fireman, because I think everybody, especially little kids, they look at this big red truck and they're like, oh, how cool. But what's it like?
It's long periods of keeping ourselves busy, interrupted by short periods of, basically it's excitement, not maybe enjoyable excitement, but we're training. We're keeping our trucks clean, keeping our station clean, and then when the tones go off and there is a call for service, we drop all that and go do what we have to do. Anywhere from car accidents, small brush fires, especially this time of year, get to be more of a hazard than people think. But then to a full scale house fire or apartment fire.
Absolutely. So just a quick note, if you smoke, don't throw it out the window. You're setting fires.
Please
Stop it.
Yeah. Very, very dry, and these high winds can cause a pretty big issue if they get out of hand pretty quick.
Yeah, and don't be burning thinking, oh, I've got it under control, because it gets out of the way pretty quick.
Yes, it can. Yeah.
I know there was a period that it was a couple of days we had firemen staying at my husband's place.
I got in on some of that.
Yeah, he was burning, and it's supposed to be inside of an incinerator, and the wind was good. He obviously had, permission to burn, and just one spark hops, and next thing you know, you've got a blaze. And of course, he has a whole lot of trees, so because he's an arborist and cut them all down, so he had one heck of a blaze. I think you could see it, to Overbrook. It was insane.
Yep, there was quite a bit of snow. I do remember that incident. I didn't get on the full brunt of the fun, said with sarcasm, but I did spend some time there.
Yeah, I was on the phone with him, and he had just walked inside to return a phone call and came back out, and he was like, I got to go. And I said, why, what's wrong? And he said, I have a fire. I said, a big fire? And he said, one mother of a fire. He wasn't kidding. So I was coming down the downtown area and looked, and I was like, holy smokes. It was insane.
Yeah, so, and for probably 3 or 4, maybe 5 days after that neighborhood was on high alert. If there's still the smell, the fire was under control and out. But if there was a smell, I think we went over there probably another 10 times. People just on edge, and yeah, it can get away pretty quick.
Yeah, we had a lot of Facebook warriors going on and saying, yeah, it's a trash dump, and the only thing that's there are trees.
Yeah, it was all lumber. It was all
lumber.
Cut lumber.
Now, if we had some squatters, because he is on the path, their trash might have been there, but it wasn't ours.
Yeah.
So, yes, be sure and watch where your fire is. So you guys, you report to practically anything an ambulance does, right?
Yep. There's if somebody calls 911 with an issue that dispatch not sure what to do with it, it comes to the fire department. And then anytime somebody is sick, a minor injury to a large injury, you're going to get a fire truck. A lot of people say, well, I just want an ambulance. You get us both. The way the fire department's set up, we're a little more quick to respond. Ambulance gets stretched pretty thin, so we're kind of supplement the basic life support.
Yeah. We had an interesting thing about 4 o'clock in the morning one morning where my husband was getting up super early to go hunting out back, and we had an electrical short, and our hot tub was on fire. And so we were out. We just about had it put out before anybody got there, but we had 3 police officers, I think 2 fire trucks, an ambulance. I mean, there was a party at our house in the middle of the night.
Yeah, and a lot of that errors on the side of caution. If you call 911, you say fire, you're going to get more than you might need. It's better to have that than not enough. So that's kind of our train of thought from that.
We did figure out that our kids could sleep through anything because they never even knew it happened.
Nice.
Yeah. And we still don't have a hot tub. We just decided, we're done.
That was enough fun with that one.
Yeah. All right. So, Quillan.
Hello.
How are you today?
I'm doing great.
He's a little nervous.
I am.
Which is so funny because he's a police officer. What do you have to be nervous about? It's a microphone.
Yeah, it's just talking to more people than I'm used to, so.
No, you're just talking to me. It's those people that are listening, but I told him not to tell me the numbers anymore because it just freaks me out. All right, so how long have you been a police officer?
It's been about 6 years.
Oh, wow. You don't look that old.
Yep, everybody keeps asking me that every time.
So let's talk about it. What are your thoughts about being a fireman? Or, I'm not a fireman. Look at me, a police officer.
It's been great serving the community, and I started out at Topeka Police Department and moved down to Burlington. It was a small city, and really enjoyed the community down there. I got married, and we decided to come back to Topeka to be closer to our family. And working at Washburn has been really great. It is like its own small community separate from Topeka.
You probably don't have as much craziness going on working for Washburn?
Pretty much. We do get some of the calls that Topeka police are pretty used to handling every day, but it's not as frequent.
That's good.
Yeah.
So what all goes into becoming a police officer?
So we go through a academy for the police department. So Topeka Police, they have their own training here in Topeka. For Washburn, we go out to Hutchinson, Kansas for 3 months training. And throughout our career, every year we have to have a certain amount of training hours completed. At Washburn, we get to complete a lot more training, and we go to New Mexico. We just had some guys go to Chicago. They go all over the place for these training classes that are through grants and everything. And so we're constantly training at Washburn and always making sure we're getting better at our job and keeping current with the training standards.
So what made you decide to be a police officer at Washburn?
So working for a small community, I really enjoyed the work I did, and Washburn provided that for me. I can do my own investigations and have the time to complete those without much assistance. And so we have the freedom in our department to follow up on all of the things that we need to. And I'm just going to give a public service announcement that the popcorn button on microwaves does not always work. It does not cook the popcorn correctly because we get several fire alarms. And when he was talking about them sending out tons of fire trucks, we've had probably about 5 out in the circle drives of the living centers and everything we have. So definitely watch your popcorn when you cook it and monitor it closely.
I just noticed it burns your popcorn.
Yeah, and then we have to do all these reports and stuff. We don't mind.
Overburnt popcorn.
Yeah, we do. So.
Oops. Maybe you should post that, like do a sticker on all the microwaves.
Yeah.
That's funny.
And the fire department loves it. I know they do.
All right, so let's talk about real estate. So, Quillan, how long have you been doing real estate?
10 months.
And recently joined our team. Staying pretty busy.
Very busy.
So, obviously, being a police officer is a little high stress. There's a fair amount of stress in real estate, too, because you're trying to get them in a home on time. What is your take on the similarities and the differences?
So, I always have to make sure that my paperwork's on point. For my job at Washburn, my paperwork gets sent back if I don't do something right, and I hate it when my paperwork gets sent back. So, in real estate, we have to have everything perfect. We can't have any errors, and so being thorough on the paperwork, looking over it, and then I don't want to miss anything in contracts and everything for my clients. So, we always try to really have a second look at it and everything before we get it all put in. So, the stress side, it's a little different because I'm not so worried about my life in real estate. Yeah. But we do get in some situations where we don't know who we're going to show a house with and stuff, so we have to keep safety in mind as well. And so my training kicks in when I'm not familiar with somebody. I do a little bit of a background check. Facebook is a huge a huge tool that we can use to make sure that somebody is who they say they are when we're going to help them out. But other than that, stress is just handled the same way. I go home to my wife, and she's pregnant with our first baby, and so we get to enjoy time relaxing together and my puppy, and just ease off from the day that way.
So we get to see him go through the first sleep-deprived months. All of us are kind of veteran parents at this point. Our team is, a lot of us are older. We're like in our 40s, moving up to our 50s. I'm a little ways from the 50s. I'm just going to keep that out there, and that will always be that way. I'm never hitting that mark. But anyway, so we've kind of got ours grown, and we're just about done with high school, and then we've got these guys who've got these littles and then brand new on the way. So we'll find him probably propped up, taking a quick nap at the office occasionally.
Yeah, right now I have 4 closings set for my baby's due date, and so I'll probably miss those, but we have a great team that they can fill in for me. So.
Oh, yeah. We cover for each other all the time. So, Collyn, what is your take on real estate so far?
Well, I'm just brand new at it, so I'm just still kind of getting my feet wet. Just been licensed here for about 3 months, and I'm enjoying it. You know, I just kind of like the fire department. There's some long periods of kind of hanging out and doing the prep work, and then there's time to go to work. So I'm looking forward to getting into, with getting licensed over kind of the winter time that are a little slower, so things appear to be picking up. I'm excited to get to working. Firemen, we work a lot of hours, just over a few days a month, so we all kind of have a side job. Most of us do anyway, and real estate's always been an interest, and kind of saw this opportunity and exploring that route.
Yeah, you've got your first 5 properties together?
5. Yep.
Yeah, and that's not everybody starts out with 5 in one little package to say, here you go, boom, here's all of it.
It has been, it is 5 different properties right next to each other, and everyone wants to know a detail about a certain property, and I've got to keep my notes pretty tight to remember, what the intricacies are on each of the properties.
Absolutely. So I know with them sounding, 10 months and 3 months, obviously on our team, you typically do way more than what most agents do, usually in a career. But they also have mentors that mentor them for the first full year. So they've always got somebody there to help. And as a team, we're well over 1,000 properties at this point. So we've got a lot of experience and a lot of good track record. So back to the Homes for Hero program. Again, that's for firemen, police officers, and veterans. A lot of times in your transaction, you get just about everything paid for, especially with the VA, the veterans. You're not having to put money down. but you do have other expenses. So our program, we target in on those expenses, and we want to try and make it as easy as possible for you. So territory-wise, we kind of take this whole big pie and we split it up. Obviously, friends and family, we all live here. Everybody works their friends and family here. But we also take out different territories. Collyn, you take care of Manhattan also, in addition to Topeka and the west properties. And then Quillan takes care of the Lawrence area. And then also he works here in Topeka. So we all have kind of like our little places that we take care of. And I think we've got one coming in Baldwin City, and that's Quillan also. So anytime you need somebody, our team covers from the Kansas border of Kansas City all the way down to Emporia, all the way west to Junction City, clear up almost to the Nebraska border. So you really have no need to change from who you're working with. We can take care of you. Our website is anykansashomes.com, and that has everybody in there, or all the properties in there for those 4 MLSs. So you could search anything. You can save what you're looking for, or say you call up Collyn and say, I'm looking for this. You can go in and you can create your own searches. And then on the back end, we can see that. So if we know, you say, well, I found this one yesterday and it looked like this and it was like that, and I want to go see that, they can go in and they can look at it and see which one you looked at. And it's also a great way to keep up with communication. So we know what's going on at any given point in time. Working with the veteran loans, we've all gone through training for that. Everybody's listened to the webcams. They walked us through. We have apps to figure out, payments and everything and what the costs would be. And so we're pretty well versed on it. But Quillan was just talking about working with VA buyers. What would you say would be the one tip that you would have for a veteran buyer?
So for a VA loan, the government's going to require the house to be pretty move-in ready, and it's not going to have any peeling paint. So really you're going to need to be looking for properties that don't need any work. So the flip houses and stuff like that, it's not really an option for a VA home buyer.
Yeah, and it's kind of weird because a lot of times we see in being a veteran, you're typically pretty handy and you really want to get in there and, you want to make it your own. And unfortunately, the way the loans are set up, you really can't do that. It really has to be, obviously it can be cosmetic. You could do that, but all those other things like the peeling paint, the tilted sidewalks, any kind of, damage to the outside, it's got to be move-in ready, because their whole thing about VA is to make sure that you're getting what you need right away without any issues.
And they'll do outdated, but when something's a safety hazard or, like I said, peeling paint, they're absolutely not going to let that fly.
Right. So if you're looking for a fixer-upper, you're going to have to look at painting, carpet, things like that. You could rip out a kitchen if you want to. I just sold one to, he was a veteran, and it was a gut job. The house was fine. Structurally, it was sound. Everything was good with it. But, it was a throwback to the 80s. I go 80s. No real shag carpet. Elvis wasn't standing in the corner, but it still had the green appliances. And his work was cut out for him, at least. So, Collyn, let's talk about what it's like to be on the listing side whenever you're dealing with VA loans.
Naturally, when you're listing your property for sale, you want to cast the widest net. You want to make your property available to as many potential buyers as possible. So that's something that we can look at. Knowing the VA does have some of those stricter guidelines, we can make the suggestions to the homeowner. If you want your home to qualify for a VA loan, then we see this or we see that, and maybe some repairs that need to be made, which then is also twofold. Is going to be one less thing that a conventional buyer is not going to have to do, and therefore makes the property even that much more attractive to everybody.
Right, and with the VA loans, VA, FHA, and some of the different off, like one first-time family homebuyer type loans, those are the ones that are affected by it, and really it's a lot of the buyers that are out there. So you do eliminate a lot of your buying power or selling power by not having done those repairs.
Yeah, especially in our community, there's a narrow high end range, but a wide range from even a first time home buyer or a growing family wanting to move up. That may also be a veteran and want to use the VA loan program. That's a pretty heavy price point area in our community.
Absolutely. Not to mention the fact that if, as a veteran, you're not putting any money down, that's huge. So, they're going to want to use those benefits. If you've never used your VA benefit, really you need is your number, your VA number, and they can go back and look and see. I've had some in the past where they've filed for bankruptcy and they thought that they could never use it again. You need to ask, because the rules have changed. And usually, if you've gone through a really tough time financially, it takes about 2 years before you can buy again, but you can buy again. So don't think that home ownership is out of your range just because, a lot of people it affected a lot of people in the 2008 range. Builders were affected. I mean, there really wasn't anybody too much that was untouched. So don't look at it as being, oh, well, I'll never own another home. Just ask, because you can. As long as you've taken care of things and really watched your credit, it can be done.
Yeah, I'm not a veteran. In the fire service, there are, some people who want to offer you some thanks, I guess. You have benefits, and sometimes you might shy away from using those. But as far as a veteran goes, you've served your time, you've done service to your country. So, check up on those benefits and where you stand with them.
Absolutely. And you can always give us a call because we're happy to help. The number is 785-213-5188. We will be going around and sharing what our Preferred Advisors team Home for Heroes looks like. So we will be coming and just talking to different people just so that you know what it is, because we want you to be aware that there is somebody out there that wants to do something really kind of cool for you, just to have an opportunity to work with you. So Quillan, he's kind of a man of many hats. Not only is he a police officer, but in our office, we really needed a male buyer's agent, and he's a good guy for the buyer's side. But he also lists in the Lawrence area and further east and further south, everything that affects the Lawrence MLS in addition to the Topeka MLS. So whenever we're meeting with a buyer, Quillan, kind of go through what we go through first so that they know what they're doing.
So at a buyer's consultation, we get to figure out everything that the buyers need. So they're going to go through a checklist on what all they want out of a house, and we're going to try to figure out if that's going to fall in the price range and everything that they're able to qualify for. So that next step is the pre-qualification, basically shopping around, seeing what rates you can get, and picking the best one. And then they're going to tell you what your price range is. So once we get that price range, we set up in our website that we have a search where once something comes onto the market, it automatically sends them an email, the customer, and us one, and saying, hey, this house qualifies for your buyer. Let's send it off to them and let's go see it. So the buyer might send us a text or call really quickly, and we already have that accessed in our system.
We also have in the program, well, first off, we also have a lender in-house. So if you come in or you call in, we can send you straight over to Stephen to get you pre-approved. But in that package, we also have what goes into a contract and the things that you need to know, like earnest money. How can I lose it? Am I always going to lose it? Which you aren't, by the way. And then how much do I need to put down? What are the inspections going to cost? What are the ways that a buyer's agents assist me? Because, obviously, whenever possible, we want you to walk away with as much money in your pocket as we can. It doesn't always work that way because, obviously, a seller has to make money. So calculating what those numbers are and negotiating, we're there for you the whole time. So in our buyer's consultation, we go through everything that you need to know so that whenever you're ready to buy, you know what you're doing. Obviously you're not selling real estate. but you have a pretty good grasp. Like, a lot of people don't think about looking at the registered offender site. You might want to know who your neighbors are, and just all the different things that go into it. Older homes, what are the utility bills like? Just the different things, the ins and outs of everything you need to know.
And part of that home search, when a customer sends us houses that they're interested in, if they're VA and the house wouldn't qualify for it, it's our job to scratch it off the list. That way we don't waste our clients' time and have them get excited about a house that the VA just won't qualify for. So that's including FHA. They're pretty strict. And so we also have deals where it's cash only, and then Fannie Mae and everything, so it's really part of our job to weed those out.
Absolutely, and part of that is through education. You could grab any agent and have them show you a house, but if you can't qualify for it, you're really just wasting your time. So, particularly I have a house right now where they're wanting to sell it as is, and the way it sits, it only qualifies for cash and conventional. Well, you're a veteran or you're doing FHA, it's really at this current state, it won't qualify. Now, that's not to say for the right price that they wouldn't hire somebody to come in and do it. But at the end of the day, it still boils down to, can the seller afford it?
And the buyer, they want to know really what is as is. So if it doesn't include any type of repairs being done on the house, or the seller just not being willing to do anything, it's the price is set at where it's at, and basically that's what you can get it for. But sometimes we find a house where the seller doesn't mind if some repairs are done, so they allow the buyers to get that done.
Yeah, on the listing side, my job is to help the seller through the transaction, and that's also an appeal to the Realty Executives Preferred Advisors. Is it's you're hiring a team. There's office staff that are going to help me and help the seller through the transaction, and we're going to have a magazine that is going to go out to all of the prospective listing customers. That's going to have a checklist of what they can do, day to day as far as preparing to get that listing and getting ready to show the property. And the less that a buyer has to do is going to increase the attraction of a potential buyer. Absolutely.
And again, whenever you hire one, you hire all. So you get the biggest bang for your buck. If you're looking to buy or sell, be sure and give us a call. Our number is 785-213-5188. You can go out and set up your own searches on anykansashomes.com. And again, 4 MLSs are on there. You can check out any property you would like. Thank you, Collyn and Quillan, so much for joining me today, and thanks for listening to Real Estate 101.
Southwest Topeka has a good neighbor. State Farm agent Jim Garrison, now at 29th and Urish. If your current insurance situation has you going around in circles, get off the roundabout and stop in and meet Jim and his wonderfully efficient staff. Let Jim Garrison give you a quote and make the Garrison comparison. He's confident that with State Farm's competitive rates, the right coverage, and his unmatched service, you'll want to make him your new insurance agent. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there, and Jim Garrison is there for you, northeast of the roundabout at 29th and Urish.
This is Stephen Parkin at Invista Credit Union. Purchasing a home is one of the most exciting and important decisions someone can make. Let me tell you why Invista is the best choice for financing your new home purchase. First, quick pre-approval process. Our fast decision-making gives you the power to act quickly and make an offer on your dream home. Second, local servicing. We service your mortgage in-house. You won't get a long-distance runaround, but a committed professional whose only job is to help you. Third, experienced team. We are dedicated to simplifying the process and educating you through the home buying process. Come by Invista. It's okay to dream. In fact, it's encouraged. We are your home buying partner. Give us a call at 785-228-0149.
Thank you for listening to Real Estate 101 with the Karey Brown team from Realty Executives Preferred Advisors. Tune in again next Sunday at 11 o'clock for Real Estate 101.